after you go through an experience like this, it's more than a team. It's almost like a family. You are so tight to go through something as intense as this. You know, as you said, this is like a bridled beast. This thing wants to take off.
And this right here is the moment that they've been training for. Luck and Godspeed, ladies. We're cheering you on from
Let's
planet
launch
Earth.
this rocket.
Termination system is armed.
Now, so they go up there and they float for like 10 minutes.
At least.
And then they come down.
Try this one.
Flynn, I got you.
With her daisy.
I got you, Flynn.
Gotcha.
Stuffed animals.
Let's not minimize this.
No, I know. It's a big deal.
Let's celebrate female astronauts.
And
Whoa. That's amazing. You guys, I have to tell you, look at the moon. That's amazing. Wow, look at the blue line.
what were they up there, 10 minutes?
Well, it was very profound. I don't know if you've seen Katy Perry talk about it, but she's basically a guru now.
Yeah.
That was one small step for womankind, one giant leap backwards for mankind, as far as I can see.
There's so much to talk about. Look at the moon. It's dark. Space!
I'm much better now that the ladies are back from space.
Thank you for having me.
But this was really not women in space. It was stupid people in space. This was the lowest IQ space crew that has ever been launched from Earth.
The reason that Katy Perry is not technically an astronaut right now is because none of the people in this capsule could actually operate anything. It was all being remotely controlled.
When Katy Perry boarded Blue Origin's rocket for a $500,000 trip to the edge of space, she thought she was making history. Dressed head to toe in a custom-designed spacesuit, alongside TV legend Gayle King and Jeff Bezos' fiancée Lauren Sanchez, this wasn't just a space flight, this was a spectacle. It was branded as the first all-female crew to touch the stars since the 1960s, a moment of supposed empowerment, progress, and unity. But the second that capsule touched back down on Earth, something shifted. Katy Perry dropped to her knees, kissed the desert floor, and smiled for the cameras, thinking she just pulled off the ultimate flex. Instead, the internet exploded. Meme after meme, headline after headline, not celebrating their achievement, but tearing it apart. The question wasn't how far they'd gone, but whether they'd done anything at all. And leading the public backlash? Joe Rogan. They didn't go to space. They went on a really expensive roller coaster. They're not astronauts. They're just rich people in a toy rocket.
I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and replicate that and understand that we weren't just taking up space, we were making space for the future. Yeah.
Oh my God.
10 out of 10 review.
To going up, you said that you needed to go to space to heal. I know you're only a few minutes removed from this incredible experience. Do you feel healed?
Okay. I got one more I got to add to you.
Harsh? Maybe. But Joe wasn't alone. Suddenly, celebrities were turning on each other. The FAA got involved. And what started as a glamorous photo op turned into a debate about who really owns space. But what if I told you this wasn't an accident, that Blue Origin wanted the hype, the controversy, the attention, and what they're planning next could spark an even bigger backlash? Let's break down how a 10-minute trip became the biggest joke in space history, and why this scandal isn't over yet. April 14th, 2025, Blue Origin's NS-31 mission. 6 women boarded the New Shepard rocket in West Texas, each wearing a custom-fitted flight suit, each holding onto the idea that they were about to make history. The crew, a mix of celebrities and high-profile figures: Katy Perry, global pop icon; Gayle King, TV anchor and Oprah's best friend; Lauren Sanchez, journalist, pilot, and Jeff Bezos' partner; Aisha Bowe, aerospace engineer, the only one with actual space industry credentials; Amanda Nguyen, activist and Nobel Peace Prize nominee; Carrie Ann Flynn, award-winning filmmaker. Blue Origin hyped it as a transformational journey. This was not just another tourist flight. This was the first time an all-female crew would travel beyond Earth's atmosphere together, a so-called leap forward for representation in space. But behind the inspirational slogans was a simple fact. The flight lasted 10 minutes and 21 seconds. The rocket lifted off, reached a peak altitude of around 351,000 feet, that's just over the Kármán line, the edge of space, and then floated back down under parachutes. No manual control, no experiments, no spacewalks. The passengers didn't pilot the craft or assist in navigation. The entire flight was pre-programmed and remotely monitored. They didn't explore space.
What were her findings? That's my question.
Well,
what
she
did she
brought a
learn?
daisy, which is super important. It shows you how quick the flight was. The dead daisy that's like snipped from its life source was still alive or still vibrant.
And there has been, that's the other thing, there has been female astronauts.
Let's not minimize this. Let's not minimize this.
They visited it, briefly. Yet cameras followed every moment. From takeoff to touchdown, the narrative was clear. These women weren't just along for the ride. They were making history. But while the crew was floating in zero gravity, social media was already lighting up. And the backlash, it hit hard and fast. Now here's where things really start to unravel. You see, calling someone an astronaut used to mean something. Years of training, dangerous missions, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. But in 2022, the FAA made a quiet but crucial change. They ended the commercial Space Astronaut Wings program. Why? Because space tourism wasn't real exploration. The new rules were clear. Unless you perform a critical role in the safety of the mission, piloting, navigating, controlling the flight, you're not an astronaut. You're a spaceflight participant. Nothing more. And on NS-31, not a single person touched the controls. Everything from launch to landing was automated. Katy Perry, passenger. Gayle King, passenger. Lauren Sanchez? Yep, passenger. No wings, no titles. Just really expensive tourists. Joe Rogan, never one to sugarcoat, tore into this. They're calling themselves astronauts. Get the funk out of here. That's like riding in the cockpit of a plane and saying you're a pilot. He didn't stop there. He brought on a former NASA engineer who laughed at the idea, calling the mission a space-themed PR stunt. And honestly, that's how a lot of people saw it. Because if you can buy a seat for $500,000 and suddenly claim to be an astronaut, what does that say about the people who risked their lives to earn that title? But it wasn't just about the title. The internet wasn't ready to let this slide. The moment Katy Perry kissed the ground, the memes began. It started with screenshots. Her, in that gleaming white suit, face pressed into the dirt like she just returned from Mars. Except she didn't. She went up, floated, and came down, all in under 11 minutes. And Twitter? Ruthless. Not astronauts exploded. One viral tweet read, "You spent $500,000 for a zero-gravity selfie and a new profile pic. Congrats." Another, "She's acting like she just saved the planet. Sis, you took a joyride." Brands even jumped in. Wendy's, known for roasting celebrities, tweeted, "Next time, take one of our burgers with you. At least it's real." It wasn't just the ground kiss. Every photo from the flight was picked apart. The fake deep quotes, the "I feel so connected to love and the universe" post-flight interview, all prime meme material. And then came the edit videos. TikTokers spliced clips of Katy Perry singing Firework over footage of the rocket launch. Others dubbed her landing over scenes from classic space movies. Apollo 13, Gravity, even Toy Story. The verdict from social media, loud and clear. They weren't astronauts. They were influencers. In space. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the celebrity shade started. If there's one thing that's rare in Hollywood, it's celebrity on celebrity violence. Not the physical kind, but something almost worse. Public shade. And after this space fiasco, the claws came out. Olivia Wilde was first. She reposted the now infamous photo of Katy Perry kissing the ground, adding this brutal caption, "$1 billion well spent for a meme. Simple, cold, savage." But it didn't stop there. Emily Ratajkowski, known for her unfiltered takes, tweeted, "This is some real end-time SHT. People can't afford rent and they're flexing in space. We're done."
Now you are officially an astronaut.
Thank you so much.
How do you feel?
I feel super connected to love.
Goodness. I will never be the same. I mean, when you get up there.
No, that's it.
and
That's it. There's another one. There's another one. She said, making space.
There, it's dark. It's like death.
And I'm so proud of us. I really am proud of me.
Flowers for me, I believe, are like God's laughter and God's smile. And I brought a daisy because I have so much love for my daughter Daisy, and I have so much love for Mother Earth.
It just says to me, if I can do this, I was telling these guys, I might even now get my ears pierced. I've never gotten my ears pierced. Because that.
Then came Amy Schumer, who couldn't resist jumping into the chaos. In a mock interview, she joked, "They called me last minute, like, hey, want to go to space?" I was on the subway, had a sandwich in my bag. Sure, why not? It was brutal. Celebrities weren't defending their own. They were piling on. Even Martha Stewart got in on the action. She posted an old clip of herself floating in zero gravity back in 2005 with the caption, "Didn't need a billionaire rocket, just a Boeing 727. And yes, I brought snacks." Joe Rogan couldn't get enough. He lit up another podcast episode, laughing about how fast Hollywood turned. This is why people don't trust celebrities anymore. They'll sell you an inspirational story one day, then turn around and roast their own. It's all just fake. But while the internet laughed, one person wasn't having it. Gayle King. She wasn't about to let this become her legacy. Gayle King hit back hard. In a fiery Instagram live, she addressed the growing storm. Don't call it a ride. This wasn't an amusement park. This was a journey. This was history. When men go up, they get respect. Why is it different for us? Her voice was shaking. The comments were flying. Some people praised her passion. Others, not so much. Girl, you floated for 10 minutes and came back. Calm down. This isn't sexism. It's facts. Gayle didn't stop. She claimed their mission was about inspiring women and girls worldwide. We were making space. We weren't taking up space. It was part sermon, part rant, and it went viral. Joe Rogan naturally wasn't impressed. She's out here preaching like she just returned from Mars. You took a ride, Gayle, a very expensive ride. But to Gayle, this wasn't about money. It was about representation. She argued that seeing 6 women in space, even for a short flight, would show young girls that anything is possible. The problem? Most people didn't buy it. Viewer polls showed over 70% believed the flight was just a PR stunt, and the more Gayle defended it, the more it looked like she was just fueling the fire. But here's the thing. While the world was busy arguing about who gets to be called an astronaut, something even bigger was brewing. Here's where things get serious. This whole drama isn't just about one celebrity spaceflight. It's about a much bigger fight over what space is becoming, a place for scientific discovery, or just another billionaire playground. Let's talk numbers. Each seat on Blue Origin's flight, estimated at $500,000. That's $500,000 for 11 minutes of weightlessness. Multiply that by 6, and you've got a flight that cost about $3 million, not counting the marketing budget, custom spacesuits, or the media circus that followed. Now compare that to NASA's Artemis program, over $2 billion per year, dedicated to real space exploration, missions to the moon, eventually Mars, science, research, risk, all in the pursuit of human advancement. Critics say these private jaunts are hijacking headlines, distracting from the people who are actually pushing boundaries. SpaceX is building rockets to land on Mars. NASA is studying the effects of long-term space travel. Meanwhile, Blue Origin is flying pop stars for Instagram clout. Joe Rogan summed it up. They're not exploring. They're playing astronaut dress-up while real scientists are scraping by.
Stewart, God bless Martha Stewart. She posted something online because she went up in a flight that achieved zero gravity.
I boarded a Boeing 727 aircraft called G-Force One and experienced what astronauts feel when they reach zero gravity.
It's a complete troll. Everyone's trolling.
And he's not wrong. While Katy Perry was floating for selfies, actual astronauts on the ISS were working on medical research that could change lives on Earth. The contrast? Staggering. But now, this isn't just about public opinion, it's about regulation. In the wake of the backlash, the FAA stepped in. They're now reviewing whether companies like Blue Origin can keep calling space tourists astronauts. If the flight is fully automated, if the passengers don't perform any real function, is it fair, or even legal, to market them as explorers? This could change everything. Blue Origin's upcoming mission? It's being branded as an educator flight, where teachers and influencers will go to space to inspire the next generation. But here's the question. Will classrooms be inspired or cringe? Critics are already lining up, saying this is just another PR stunt in a spacesuit. The FAA's decision could force companies to be honest about what these flights really are. Expensive, exclusive joyrides. And Joe Rogan? He's betting we haven't seen the last of this. Hollywood's gonna keep trying, But the more they push this astronaut fantasy, the harder they're gonna get roasted. So, after all of this, the flight, the memes, the meltdowns, where do we stand? Was Katy Perry's trip to space a moment of glory, or just a disaster wrapped in designer spacesuits? Here's the reality. This wasn't just about one celebrity, it's about who gets to claim greatness and who's just along for the ride. Trailblazers or tourists? That's the real question. Should celebrities be called astronauts, or are they just passengers with massive wallets and even bigger egos? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and stick around. Because if I get invited to space next, you'll be the first to know. Peace.